Now, the other thing I really want to focus on besides building culture, which I think is essential to our success, is the idea of building that kitchen table for our students. Having a results-oriented culture, because none of this matters if our students don't leave us ready for college and career. And so from my perspective, that's what really drives me. That's why I want to be here in this position, is because I wanted to be part of a team and part of a community that made a difference in the lives of our children. Now, I was born and raised in this community, 2 college-educated parents, and I was extremely blessed to live in what anybody who knew me growing up would definitely confirm was a very results-oriented culture in my family. We had some very challenging conversations about what it took to be ready for the world of work. And I'd actually love to highlight my father, who happens to be here today in the crowd. Dr. Ehren Jarrett was a part of a lot of those conversations, so it's good to have you in the crowd. And in having those conversations, what I think back on is how many of our children in our community right now aren't having those conversations at their kitchen table. So we can lament that, we can be sad about that, or we can come together as a community and create a kitchen table for all of our students. And that is the challenge that we have before us today as a community. That's how we can really change and get better results, is if we provide that kitchen table for our students. It's not just our employees, but it has to be everybody that's a part of that. And it's even more important now than ever, because 60% of jobs require post-secondary education right now, and of the 47 million new jobs that are projected to be created, 70% of those jobs are going to need post-secondary education. So the days of high school dropouts or high school graduates having the keys to success in our community, those days are over. We have to do more. And when you look at our community from the perspective of a site selector, how attractive are we as a community and as a region if only 20% of our residents have a bachelor's degree, and yet the demand is for 25%. Okay, we have a gap there that we need to close, and we need to be part of closing that. And when you look at our student performance, we have to be honest that we're not doing enough yet. 40% of our students receive an outstanding education. They are college and career ready. We have another 30% of our students that are graduating but have some gaps. And Dr. Becker is going to do a great job of really articulating what a challenge that presents at the post-secondary level when students come and they're not ready academically and they haven't had the type of experiences that they need. And then there's another group of students that is not graduating. But I got to tell you, with all those challenges being legitimate challenges, my colleague Matt Vosberg had a great statement yesterday when we were talking about this. He said, you know what, our students are underrated. And I think that is really true. I think sometimes we focus too much on some of the negative things, and I just want to share a couple things that inspire me on a regular basis when I think about our students. And one of those is when we give our students the most rigorous opportunities academically and prepare them, the average ACT score for students that take 3 or more advanced placement courses is a 27. That puts our students in the 90th percentile. So our schools are working very well for some students. And I also want to talk on a little more personal level about, we talk a lot about the impact of poverty in our schools and how debilitating that can be for students. But I can tell you what, it's no being in a situation where there's poverty doesn't mean students can't have character. I'll tell you what, I had an amazing experience this week. I went to King Elementary School, 99% poverty. Not sure who the one child is in the school who's not in poverty, because it's a very challenging environment. And Mrs. Barch, one of our elementary school teachers, invited me about a month ago to be part of a challenge she and Dr. Willis set up, where they were part of the Salvation Army can drive, and I would have to match can for can what they came up with. I thought, that's not going to be that bad. How much can some fourth graders do with a can drive? Well, first it was 100 cans, then it was 273 cans, then it was 384 cans. Okay, we're talking about children that may not have food in their own pantry, caring about other people having enough to eat. So when people talk about what our kids can and can't do, I'm always going to think of Mrs. Barch's class. It's a special group of kids, and I had to fill my trunk load up to match their effort, and it was an awesome experience to share with those students.